Hello and welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support this channel by subscribing. Also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of the lands upon which I reside. So I have entitled this video, "What Type of Witch Are You?" And I guess it's probably going to be a few videos. There's a few thoughts that have been sort of percolating. It's probably not a good idea, but we'll just see what comes out. And most of it is just my observances and trying to understand what is happening within this sort of explosion, really, of witchcraft, because there's so many styles, so many forms of witchcraft these days that I can't keep up with them. And it's getting to a stage now that it's, at least to me, being seen as if the word witchcraft is now used as a catch-all for anything that may be remotely or vaguely magical, spiritual, and dare I say it, New Age, or what we used to call New Age back in the 90s, early 2000s. And that may upset a few people, especially those who sort of adhere to the sort of anything goes attitude. And at the end of the day, you do you, I'll do me. But I am just trying to make head or tail out of where the definitions are, the boundaries are, because we're also increasingly living in a world where everything's instant. And then added to that, we have AI. So we've got all this fake news, expanded truth, poetic license out. And I know we've always had this, but it's everywhere. And if you are a genuine seeker, it can be very difficult. And by genuine seeker, I mean more than having a passing interest in a fad that's been caught up. And if you're watching this video, then I'm hoping that at the very least, you are somewhat curious about how contemporary witchcraft or initiatory witchcraft or BTW, British traditional witchcraft, or Wicca differs from all the other variants, I say, that are around and available today. And also, you might even be interested in how to take what you have already, say, currently doing, that step further, either with or without joining a group, because let's face it, let's be honest, group work, which contemporary witchcraft and true witchcraft is centered around, is not always workable for people or what they want to do. But we do need to be honest. A lot of what is publicly portrayed as witchcraft is, in all honesty, simply focusing. Even spell casting is not really an appropriate word, because I don't even know if they're casting spells. It's this illusion that they are. And manifesting through the use of tools and ingredients that are perceived to be connected with witchcraft. And I'll sort of unpack that a little bit more in a moment. And this is because some of these modern variants of the craft tend to be very focused, or focused solely just on that it is a craft, something you do and nothing more. Yet a lot of these tools, these ingredients, actually do not have all that huge importance within the craft itself, especially from a more contemporary industry background. They are there, but the work of the witch is more than just herbs or crystals. In fact, even within my tradition, crystals aren't used a lot. if anything, maybe just clear quartz or obsidian for like a scrying mirror. But everything else, crystal halley, and I've got nothing against it. I use crystals myself. But this fixation that every witch must use crystals, it's just like, that's separate. That's sort of one of these modern variants. And as I said, a lot of the stuff has been coming in more recent times. And what I mean by that is that we are talking probably the last 10, maybe 15 years or so at a push. Definitely, where are we, 2025? I'd say 10 years ago, because that would be 2015. Maybe a little bit before then, but up till, say, around about 2010, 2015, it wasn't like what we see today. And having just said that, I do realize that 2015 even may seem as a lifetime ago for some people. I mean, after all, we've gone through a pandemic, and even though that was only like 5 years ago, that sort of has created this sort of fog that we can't sort of like remember. Oh, yes, that's before COVID, BC, before COVID, and it seems a lot longer ago when we stop and think about things. Okay, now I have nothing against more operative styles of witchcraft. The crafting of spells, the creation of charms, the reciting of incantations, etc., has actually been a long part of the very fabric of the craft. However, so has religion. The belief in the other, whether it is an earthbound spirit, an ancestor, or a higher plane guardian, guide, deity, etc. And today there seems to be still a lot of this backlash against anything remotely religious, especially in some areas, and it could be from where people are coming through. I have never come from a really strong Christian background or toxic Christian background or toxic religious background. I suppose I'm a bit advantaged in that area, but so I don't have this problem with the word religion. And I think too, we get caught up in these words and we see Christianity or the Orthodox religions as the benchmark for how we view religion or how we view gods, goddesses, and deities. And we should keep in mind that it's not a benchmark, that there are different ways of approaching the divine. And when we remove the other from our craft, where does it come into the whole? No, this is not even making good sense. Where do we come in perceiving other forms of other, like working with spirits, working with ancestors, otherworldly beings? And I find it somewhat amusing that I've come across people who don't like the word God, goddess, divine, yet are more happy than not to work with ancestors, to work with spirits. And it's just like, we're still working with the other. We are still working with something outside of ourselves. Anyway, getting back to the primary focus of operative magic, and from what I have come across, not only on social media, but also in physical spaces, I honestly cannot help but wonder whether people actually know what they are doing, or even engaging a third party on their behalf, because what I see, there seems to be not so much a lot of witchcraft, i.e. magic, but, and I'm going to be nasty, wishcraft. And for clarity's sake, what I mean by wishcraft is the, illusion of creating magic without there being any actual magic there. Or maybe it's a delusion. Because even so, that sleight of hand magic is well, there is an element of magic contained within it. But again, if you're watching this, you may have an idea what I'm sort of talking about. We see it everywhere. There's these well-meaning instructions on all you need is, say, moon water. Yes, we can't forget now, precious moon water. A jar, usually, or a little bottle. Usually you can pick one up from a cheap shop for not even a couple of bucks. Some herbs and crystals, and shove everything together, and suddenly all your wrongs will be righted in the world. Or you could get these little jars made up from you from a magical entrepreneur if you cannot be bothered doing it yourself. And these are promoted as the next thing, best thing since sliced bread. And they're absolutely everywhere. Even on Temu, you can buy pre-made magical bottles. Beggars believe. Because it's saying that, especially to the budding witch, the wannabe witch, the new witch, why bother getting your hands dirty? All you need is a magical entrepreneur to craft you some magic. Because after all, it's all about intent, isn't it? Whose intent? Clearly, it's not your intent if you're buying someone else's skill and craftsmanship to make you a little charm bottle, because you cannot be bothered making it yourself. And I know there's going to be people saying, well, what happens if I don't have the herbs? I don't have the crystals. Oh, you don't need a charm bottle. You can make something else. That's the whole point. It's like these little magical jars are the latest fad. Yet they're just one form of magic. And if you think about it, do you actually know what exactly someone else is putting into your bottle? You're turning your intent into faith that they are honest. And if you're buying something online from Temu, of all places, well, I guess you get what you paid for. And I know some people may consider what I'm saying is a bit harsh, elitist even, and again, I'll attempt to sort of unpack a few things here when it comes to magic and witchcraft, especially through the lens through which I look out of, which is contemporary witchcraft. And again, if you disagree, so be it. I'm not here to argue or convert you. I'm just really trying to, I guess, part some of the clouded veils for those who are interested. Now, from the place where I'm coming from, and disclaimer, I can't speak for any initiate or all initiates or every practitioner of contemporary witchcraft. I can barely speak for myself at the moment, nor would I want to. I'm only speaking from my own perspective, and that is in order to truly practice witchcraft, or at least in this instance, what we're really talking about is magic, a magical act, which may or may not be witchcraft. You need to do more than utilize the power of the mind. It needs to be more than merely wishing for something to be achieved, or this intent. Because seriously, if it was that easy to do, I would have had a stable full of ponies by the time I was 6. And yes, I'm being flippant. And when you hear people going on about all you need is intent, honestly, what do they mean by intent? Intent really is determination to do something. However, there is no guarantee you will actually do that thing, or that thing will render the result you wish for. It's only part of the story. What you need to do is to be able to connect with the current, the energy that is around you, and to know deep within your own soul that witchcraft crosses the boundaries of time, all realms and the different worlds, and you need to believe in this without any doubt. And this is why in other videos I go on about energy, because really magic is the manipulation of energy. This is one of the basic understandings of the Hermetics that underline magic, witchcraft, various philosophies, including both Eastern and Western philosophies, going to metaphysics. We're all energy. And it's that understanding of energy and how we can manipulate it that enables us to move between the worlds, so to speak. And this is part of, I feel, what's missing in today's modern variants is that they don't fully, truly believe without any doubt that witchcraft, that their magic can actually do that. And also, if you're not invested in your spell, your ritual, if you've just downloaded something or bought something off Temu or from a magical entrepreneur, I really hate that word, entrepreneur. I know everybody. It's just, yeah, flash in the pan for me in this show, may I? But how much of that, how you invested in the thing? It is what we term witchcraft, what we term magic, connecting in to these energetic currents that flow around us, through us, that magicians of the past, like Aleister Crowley, referred to when he penned his description about magic occurring when we align our true will in order to achieve self-realization. So when we buy our little bottle, what is our self-realization? And just a thought about these magical entrepreneurs, whilst there have always been sort of cunning folk and craftspeople to aid the budding witch, think about this. Where is your desire? Coming back to this fixation everybody seems to have about these little spell jars, if you cannot be bothered to make a simple spell jar based on your true desire for something, or if your desire, and I've mentioned this, is to be satisfied by some cheap-ass Temu product, then seriously good luck to you. Because this is not what I perceive magic to be all about. And in my perspective, this is not witchcraft, real witchcraft. This is not even superficial veneered bullshit that's clogging up our spaces and landfills. And it's just like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. Or another thought is that, say you've gotten your magical entrepreneur to make you something because you're at a market or a show or online, they've got a real fancy website on Etsy, whatever reason, because you cannot make it for yourself, what have you done with it? If it's all sealed up with wax, what part of you, your energy, is connected to that thing, that bottle? Where is the connection? This is one of the basic Hermetic laws. There's got to be a connection to you, to that magical item, to that spell, for it to work for you. Have you empowered part of it to make it truly in alignment with your true will? Or is it just tick a box here and we will mass produce it for you? What is the energetic signature that it carries? You want someone to make you something, a little spell jar for prosperity, for abundance. It's got nothing of you in it, yet it's got a connection to the maker. Have you thought about who that jar is actually for? Who the abundance or where is that current of abundance flowing to? Just a thought. And again, a disclaimer, I know that all magical entrepreneurs are not charlatans. I know there are, as I said, bona fide craftspeople, cunning folk out there who know how to remove their energetics from a craft item that they have made for a client or a customer. But still, you have to do something yourself. So I guess maybe we should come back to the title of this video. What kind of witch are you? Because I'm not talking about whether you're initiated or not, what trend you're following, but really what kind of witch are you? Or maybe I should rephrase it as to what does witchcraft and magic mean to you? Is it some kind of, I don't know, membership to the cool club, kids club, sort of like the spooky kid on the block sort of thing? Is it maybe joining the aesthetically pleasing Instagram images that you love to share with your followers, and how many likes you can get or how many followers you can have? Is it all about being seen? Or is it about doing or being? Because to me, I view contemporary witchcraft as a religion. It is a path that, I don't know, when you follow it for a while, you get to a stage where you just simply be. And by that, I mean, it goes beyond the likes and the followers. I mean, like I'm doing this video, I could be talking to myself. I could be the only person who watches this, but it shapes the world that I see. It said it's the lens throughout which I look, how I look at things, how I perceive things, how I understand things, how I see my interaction with the greater scheme of things. It goes beyond just acquiring stuff. I like my statues and my pretties, but they are not essential to my craft. This acquiring stuff too, this focus on manifesting stuff, seems to be just another string in this increasing bow of commercialism and ego extension. I mean, because it's got a star on it, let alone an actual pentagram, doesn't mean it's almighty and powerful. Come on, people. Especially when it's been mass-produced and made out of that sort of cringeworthy plastic, which we see every Halloween, regardless of hemisphere that we're in, all this cheap-ass plastic. And and I'm just thinking microplastics clogging up our environment. What happened to the witch being connected with the earth? If you do not know where your herbs came from because you've bought them all online, if you don't even know if that chopped up piece of green stuff that you got is actually bona fide herb or grass, where is your connection to the earth? Do you not think beyond the aesthetics to the consequence? Yes, we all dress up in all the bling for spooky season, Halloween, October. And then the next day, it all goes into our rubbish bin. It doesn't magic away. It goes into landfill. It's made of cheap-ass plastic. It doesn't break down. It turns into microplastics, which endanger the environment, animals, the air we breathe, everything. But hey, it looks witchy, so it's okay, isn't it? So I ask again, what kind of witch are you? What does your witchcraft say about you? Is it all Timu cheap-ass stuff that you don't give a rat's ass about with the microplastics and damaging or endangering the environment because, hey, you look shit hot? Or is the change that you are creating through your magic an internal change throughout which you see the world and you can shape your world for the better? Maybe there is something about this imagery that draws you in deeper, even though you may be caught up in the veneer. It sort of ignites a spark within you. There's this deeper yearning. And I guess if you're still watching this video at this stage and have not written me off completely as some grumpy old bad, which I know I am, then congratulations, you are beginning to awaken to the capitalistic illusion and are approaching the threshold of discovering what the real essence of witchcraft is about. And it is this yearning that is what you begin to tap into, because you're tapping into something that flows, that is connected in with the magic that witchcraft utilizes. And that is earth-based power, not things. So I think I'm going to leave it there for this current time. As I said, I'll probably break this down into a second part, yay, and I'll share more about, I guess, this power that I'm referring to that flows through magic, through witchcraft. This is something that, believe it or not, our ancestors only too well knew about. And by ancestors, I meant the people before us, all around the world. They knew about this energy. Don't ask me how, but they knew about it. And it's evident from what they have left us. So until then, you might wish to consider again, what type of witch are you? What type of witch do you want to be? How is this truly reflected in the magical currents that you create? Not only on this earthly plane, but on other planes, because we don't live in a vacuum. We are all interconnected, because that's what witchcraft is all about. Thanks.